ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Retro Warriors, episode 529.
Woo!
As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker. As always, I'm joined by Viable Human, Chris Saturn.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Saturn.
We made it.
We made it. We always say we made it as if there was like, if there was a chance we wouldn't make it.
Right.
But I guess, isn't there always?
Yeah.
Isn't there always a chance that something could get in the way? The internet could collapse, or we
Your
could decide we
hillbilly
all hate
power
each
could
other.
go out.
Hillbilly power could go out. We could cover every old video game ever made and then run out of them.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, you know it's a good game? Saints Row the Third, that's a good game.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'd love to do a show on that, but it's not retro. And then I sat there for a minute and I was like, oh shit.
That's pretty fucking old now.
Fuck yeah, it is. And then I was like, wait a minute. We could be doing PS3 shit. The PS3 is like 19 years old.
It is, yeah.
So I was just having some thoughts about that.
360's 20 years old.
Oh my god. We could do some of that stuff. It'd be fun. Be a fun time.
Yeah.
Anyway, my week.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing Trails of Cold Steel.
I've played that.
I'm
I know that one.
in chapter 3.
Okay.
I assume out of 300.
I think there's 5.
Is there only 5? The last few must be gigantic.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Also, there's a post-chapter, and that one's pretty big.
All right, okay. Because I don't know how many hours in I am. I'm playing the GOG version on Steam Deck, and I did Heroic Launcher did me wrong. Well,
I'm
maybe
thinking
I
of a
did me
different game.
wrong.
That one has 6 chapters. And then the final chapter is after chapter 6, and it's the long one.
Yeah, I was about to say the last couple must be huge then.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've gone nowhere. I am enjoying the game. It feels really extremely Persona-y to me.
Mhm.
But in kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like in Persona, I'm always worried that I'm like missing stuff or not seeing things or not doing the right things in the right order. So I end up looking guides up, and then it's like, well, you want to talk to these people on these days in this thing, and
Right.
it's like Persona, but like a little bit less involved.
Yeah, and a lot of that is kind of there in Cold Steel under the surface. It doesn't point any of it out to you, so the stress isn't there for me.
Yeah, and I've noticed that sometimes I'll just casually talk to people, and little things will happen. I'll be like, oh, there's a little tidbit of story here or whatever. But because it's not like mechanically doing anything,
Right.
I'm not worried about missing those little bits.
So the secret of the Trail series is anytime you trigger any possible story event anywhere, including side quests, every character in the game's dialogue updates.
Yeah, and so but it's not really readily apparent,
Right.
and so you I think encourages me to play it a little more naturally and not worry about like getting every single because like theoretically you'd have to talk to every person after every event that ever happens that is available to you every time, which is insane.
Yeah, it would be insane. Yes.
And so I don't know. I'm enjoying that. It's kind of Persona-y, but it's just a little less involved.
Yeah, and also it feels less like you're going to get railroaded into a bad choice or something. Because it gives you plenty of time to do everything, whereas Persona, I always feel like I'm under the time crunch.
You have a time. Yeah. Persona, like this is like, here's how many points you have to go do bonding moments.
Right.
You get to pick who you bond with.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, you did too many actions, you're out of time now.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that it and really theoretically those are both the same system, just presented differently, right?
Yeah.
But it feels different.
Yeah.
When it's like your clock ticking away.
Right. And also in Persona, anything will tick away at the clock, including like the non-social thing. So if you want to level up one of your stats or go do a thing, that's going to take away hours, whereas in Cold Steel, it's only those explicit bonding events that take away from it.
So I'd say like anybody out there that was like, I liked Persona, I liked the idea, it was just a little too involved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's something to check out. So I'm in the 3rd chapter now, and I'm still very much enjoying it. Extremely hard game. I mean, like one of the harder games that I've played. It is extremely difficult, but I'm getting through it, and I'm having a good time with it. And it's pretty generous. Like anytime you die, you can retry a battle or retry and lower the difficulty. And like it's so it's kind of as much challenge as you do or don't want.
Yeah, and there is variable difficulty levels as well, but Falcom does not fuck around with difficulty. If you choose a higher difficulty, it is going to be difficult.
I'm on normal.
Yeah. Which is
I try to
tough,
try to play everything on normal. Yeah, but because it gives me the option to kind of, my only complaint is there's no way to, because sometimes I'll get into battles and immediately my shit gets fucked up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take me 10 turns to die. And then you just get caught in this death spiral, and there's no way to restart the battle from in the battle. Like I can't pause or load or anything.
Right.
That's kind of annoying, but just kind of one of those things.
You
But
just
yeah,
fast
I'm very
forward it.
much. Yeah, but even, my fast forward is a toggle because I've got it modded, so
Yeah.
everything's always on fast forward
Right,
for me.
same here.
But even then, it's like sometimes it just takes a while for all your people to die.
Yeah, especially if the enemy decides to be stupid.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you can just eke out a win in that scenario.
It has happened. I was the I'm trying to think of how to not spoil the battle. I was really stuck on the
Which chapter
I don't
was
even
it?
know how to. It was chapter 3. I'm just gonna say it was the schoolhouse. Chapter 3 schoolhouse battle was intensely. I played it for like an hour last night and then finally had to give up. I finally got it this morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, really enjoying it. I'm just playing it in little snippets here and there. I have no idea like hours wise how far I am. But it's been a good time. I'm kind of excited to get a little further in the story and for things to start happening, because right now I'm in the part of the story where it's just like you just sort of repeat these very predictable cycles over and over. And I'm sure that eventually the cycle will get fucked up and then antics ensue and then broader story begins happening. Because I'm sure it's not just 4 solid games of the exact same cycle of gameplay.
So I don't want to spoil too much, but in Cold Steel specifically, that shakeup you're waiting for that breaks the routine happens in the final chapter. Like that's until then it's just like here's your routine, enjoy it, and then at the very end it's like, oh, shit's gonna get fucked up, enjoy it in the next game.
Well, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I've been told by Trails people to kind of treat Cold Steel 1 and 2 and first chapter, second chapter of Trails in the Sky as sort of one game in 2 parts.
Yeah, same with Cold Steel 3 and 4.
Yeah, so I don't think, that's not too upsetting to me.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of settled into the rhythm and I'm sort of ready for it to, I'm ready for it to take off.
That's fair.
I also picked up and I've been playing the Dawn of War Definitive Edition. I have so many thoughts about this game. I'm a big Dawn of War fan. I think it's possibly the best RTS ever made. It's one of my favorite games. It is an excellent title that I think perfectly nails the silly tone, the ridiculousness, the absurdity, and also kind of the cool factor of Warhammer all in one.
Yeah.
And in my experience, it's rare that something nails all of those, especially the silliness part, very well, because Warhammer 40K is a parody. It is making fun of these things. It's a joke. It's a satire. But in modern decades, it seems to have that's kind of fallen by the wayside as it becomes much more very grimdark and more very like the whole thing of like in the 41st century there is only war. Like that's a joke. It's supposed to be a joke, right? What I like about the Definitive Edition is that all the old mods do still work, so you can still use the Unification mod, which gives you like 28 playable factions. And it's pretty good. I don't know. I've had some crashes with it. I think it's one of those games where like here in a couple months when all the modders get all their mods updated to like have proper sized assets and things for this version, it's going to be great. For right now, it's a little like, if you just want to play the game unmodded, pretty good experience. But if you're like, hey, I'm really like me, you've been playing for a long time and you're really entrenched and you want all these factions and mods and stuff, they kind of need to get updated to function properly. But again, a remaster that even includes mod support
That's
for
nice.
the original game mods is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's $30. And so if you've not played Dawn of War and you've been interested in it, I think it's worth it. I just have some minor complaints about it, and I think it needs a couple updates to kind of get exactly where I want it to be, but I think it's getting there and it's close.
That's fair.
What about you, Saturn? What you been playing?
I've mostly been playing a game for the show today, the Final Fantasy XI.
Yeah.
And obviously I'll have a lot to talk about that when we're doing the show proper.
I would hope.
But I keep wanting to compare it with 14 just because they're,
It's hard. It's hard not to.
Yeah. And I've still been like occasionally playing some daily routines or daily roulettes in 14 while I've been playing it, and going back and forth between the two. I clearly have a preference.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't put it in the notes, but I also resubbed to 14 and have been going back and forth just to also compare.
Did you resub like right before the free login campaign started?
Oh yeah, literally the day before. So that's fucking great.
Nice.
And I also have a strong preference, and I think it is the opposite of you.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's the opposite of mine.
But we'll talk about more of that, shortly.
But it has been neat to see how much of 11 was stolen outright for 14 over the years.
It's funny in my head. If you just asked me 6 months ago, like how much of the bones of 11 existed in 14, I'd have been like, oh, not much. They're pretty different. But then as I'm playing, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
nah, you see it. It's there.
Oh yeah.
So it's been interesting to have this different perspective because in my head they're just so different.
Oh yeah, and they definitely play differently.
Sure, and then, but on paper when you're sitting down really interacting with them, you see a lot of influence. A lot.
There's a lot of it there.
It's been interesting. Well then let's do the news.
Okay.
First up, Vampire Survivors is getting a board game via Kickstarter.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's a game that is well suited for board game, right?
I mean, I don't know if you know this. A lot of games are getting board games. There's a Metal Gear Solid board game. You can buy it on Amazon. There's a Dark Souls board game. Bloodborne got, I think, a card game or a board game. There's a Mega Man board game. It's just kind of a thing right now. It's trendy. I'm going to buy this because I've yet to touch anything Vampire Survivors that wasn't exciting or cool or fun or silly.
It's fair.
And I can't even imagine what the fuck a Vampire Survivors board game looks like. But if it's as insane as the game, if it's even half as insane as the game, I'm down. I don't care. Let's do it. So I'm a little excited for this. But I can't even imagine what it would be. Like, what would it would just be like Crossfire, but you shoot dudes at each other? Like, what would it
Yeah, I hadn't considered that it would be Crossfire, but now I think it has to be Crossfire.
Like, it's got to be some kind of dexterity. Like, so here's, I have a game called Cube Quest.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite board games. I don't play it very much, but it's fantastic. And you get dice. It's 6-sided dice. But instead of numerals or pips on the dice, it's like characters. Like, this die is an orc, and this die is a knight. And you physically build a castle with your dice, and then you flick your orcs and knights at each other's castle to try to knock it down and kill their king.
Nice.
And if they land on a certain side, they'll do like extra damage or whatever. And so it's a dexterity game where you're just literally flinging dice at each other. And you always have to have a shield so you don't get hit in the face with dice. And I can imagine something like that. If it's something like that, I'm going to be very excited.
Yeah.
Like a ridiculous dexterity game. I could see it.
Just so you have an excuse to hit each other in the face with dice.
Yes. It's one of the only times it's acceptable to chuck a fistful of D6s at someone across the table from you. I remember me and Andrew were playing it, and we ended up using I don't remember what it was. I think like my daughter had one of those tri-fold cardboard things for like science projects. And we were like, I'd be like, all right, it's your turn. And we'd trade this thing back and forth and then hold it behind the playing field. It's very fun. I'll bring it over sometime. We can play it. It's a super fun game. But you spend most of the time digging around on the floor looking for lost dice. Bad update. An Xbox 360 USB exploit that we heard about recently has been improved so that it now more consistently hacks the console in about a minute. I think I read it has about a 70% success rate right now.
They were saying it's actually higher than that now. It's like 80 or 90%. Like before it was like a 30 to 40% success rate, and sometimes it would take 5 to 10 minutes. But now it seems to be hitting most of the time in less than a minute, which that's excellent.
Now, this does reset when you reset the console, which is why the consistency matters, because if it's something you got to run every time you boot it, it needs to be quick.
Oh, yeah.
PETA has asked Nintendo to remove the nose ring from the cow in Mario Kart World.
It's PETA. Do you really have to ask any questions here?
There's got to be more important things going on right now.
Not for PETA.
I cannot imagine
this is their
there's
world,
not
Justin.
more important things happening. I mean, All right, man.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe it's one of those, like those fake earrings. It's just a clip-on. It's a clip-on nose ring.
Yeah. He's just running a clip-on nose ring.
PayPal is now blocked from Steam in several regions, which is shitty. I use PayPal as my primary payment source on Steam, and so the idea that it could go away is upsetting to me.
Fortunately, it's not in the U.S. Or in most of the English-speaking world right now. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's and I believe it is due to the payment processors. It's another issue with that because PayPal just runs everything through MasterCard technically. So there's some issue with that.
There's a lot of irons in fires as far as internet censorship, attacking the idea of VPNs and online privacy, and payment processors pulling away from online marketplaces. That's all happening simultaneously, kind of worldwide right now.
Yeah.
That has me a little bit alarmed.
Yeah. Same.
Which is kind of all I can really say within the confines of our show.
Right.
Without getting vastly off topic and into a realm we don't want to get into.
Right.
But I just want to have said that everyone should be just a tiny bit panicked right now, I think.
A bit right now.
Just definitely concerned and worried, and please pay attention and sign petitions and write your representation and be vocal because I can feel a reckoning coming.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to hit us like a tidal wave.
I fear that the end of the open internet is close at hand.
Fast approaching. And as that front door is shutting, I'm also watching the back door be forced shut at the same time, with VPNs and stuff also being attacked at the same time. So just throwing it all out there. If for people that don't pay attention to this stuff at all, get ready.
Yeah.
I'll say that. NVIDIA and Discord are adding a play instantly feature to Discord based on GeForce Now. Fortnite will be the first game added. I think online service games and MMOs are fantastic candidates for streaming like this because you already can't own them or download them or play them offline.
Well, Google had done something similar with Stadia and YouTube at one point, where if somebody was streaming a game they were playing on Stadia and you were watching it on YouTube, you could theoretically just jump into it live at that moment.
I feel like I remember that. That's neat.
And it was a neat idea. It saw very little actual implementation. I think Bomberman was the first game that they had, at least it was the first one that I noticed that supported it, that caught my interest at all. But there was a couple games that they had that feature, but nobody used it because nobody was streaming Stadia. In the world, no one.
Yeah. This is again, I'm not going to use this. It's cool that it's there. I don't give a shit about Fortnite. But I think this is the kind of thing that Discord should be adding, not fucking the shit it is adding.
Right? Yeah, not the advertisement for the Dairy Council to give me an avatar sticker. I don't need that, Discord.
Ion Neo Pocket DS pricing revealed. $519 for the 8 gigs RAM, 128 gigabyte storage model. $559 for the next one up. $619, $719 is the top end model with 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage. $120 discount available for pre-orders. This one is is this a Ryzen or like it's a x86 machine? Correct?
I believe it is x86 based. Yeah.
This is the big fancy one that they had announced because they had announced the cheaper one, or the one we all hoped would be cheaper, and we were all like, "What about that big fancy one?"
Yeah.
And this is the big fancy one.
Yeah. It doesn't help they're two different companies, both with very, very similar names, both making DS-style handhelds right now.
It does not help at all.
It's very confusing.
Gamescom 2025 happened. I watched a little bit of the opening ceremony, posted a bunch of screenshots of Jeff Keighley looking like a doofus, and then ignored the rest of it. So here's what we gleaned.
I was either
from
asleep or at work during it. I don't remember.
I think you were asleep. I think it was like at 10 or 11 a.m. He-Man, the Dragon Pearl of Destruction is a 80s He-Man cartoon based brawler, which looks really good. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking that there weren't more He-Man video games because the entire franchise was built from the ground up to sell action figures.
I think there was one on Intellivision because Mattel owned He-Man and Mattel made the Intellivision. But by the time like the NES came around, He-Man was basically a dead property.
I mean, I guess NES, yeah, it would have been a few years off. But even
Yeah.
then, man, like, it
There
kind of
was
blows
that
my
reboot
mind.
of He-Man, but I don't think it was popular enough to have gotten a game adaptation.
The reboot was the early aughts, and yeah, I think that barely made it a season.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a cool reboot for of the 3 He-Man reboots. It's probably the second best. Probably second best.
I thought there was a 90s He-Man reboot too.
No, okay, so there was a like, it wasn't a reboot, but it was like a follow-up, and it was like He-Man in space.
Oh yeah,
and I
New
forget what it
Adventures of
was
He-Man,
called.
1990.
Yeah, it was kind of, if I remember right, it was more sequely. It wasn't like we're redoing the whole thing. It was like, what if it's more He-Man?
Yeah,
and it was like in the future, and
but
it was a different
was
kingdom,
definitely
and-
not popular enough to get a game.
No, that one tanked as far as I know. Bubsy 4D was announced for some reason. Please stop. We have had enough.
So Atari bought back the rights to really a bunch of their games, but among them was Bubsy, and they are trying to reboot him as kind of a parody of himself.
Okay, like meta Bubsy.
Yeah, basically, because they know he's a joke, so they're just kind of leaning into that. I'm to understand.
Okay, all right, I'm on board with this idea.
So we'll see. I'm not gonna buy it or anything, but I will look to see what other people say when they buy it, and maybe I'll try it on Game Pass.
Yeah, if they really go crazy meta with it, like that Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie they did a couple years ago, I'm down for that. Like, let's do that.
Yeah.
But I don't believe they will.
No,
I think they'll kind of hint at it a little bit,
Yeah.
but then still just be like, here's Bubsy.
Yeah.
Death by Scrolling, a new game from Monkey Island creator Ron Gilbert. I didn't see this one. I didn't look at this one.
Yeah, it's also it's being published by Microprose, who I did not know was around again. Apparently,
I didn't know they were either.
Some of the original owners of Microprose bought back the rights to the name Microprose from Atari and have rebooted them as a publisher. And so they are publishing this new Monkey Island game, which that's or not a new Monkey Island game, but a new game from the developer.
The Monkey Island people. Yeah.
But so yeah, that's a weird throwback in both directions. So I'm not a huge point and click fan, so I won't play it.
Not my thing, but I'm sure
I'm happy
exciting.
that it is a thing for people that do like that.
Retired Final Fantasy series Nobuo Uematsu, Final Fantasy series composer Nobuo Uematsu is releasing his own craft beer. I can speak. Yes. He's releasing a craft beer. He's trying to compete with Capcom.
Yeah, he's trying to get that
Capcom
guy's wine
he's
vineyard. He's got to compete there.
Next gen Xbox console will have an AI chip with neural rendering, probably based on the Ryzen AI series. Shocking, literally nobody. Basically all new decent processors have AI co-processing in them now, and
also it does help with graphics. So I can see how that would be beneficial in a game console. So fine,
for sure.
Whatever.
PC Gamer reports that 87% of game developers are using AI agents, and over 1/3 use them for creative content. I think shocking, literally nobody.
Yeah, it's gross.
I've heard
it's not a surprise.
I've heard multiple firsthand reports of people in development spaces saying that not only do they have AI available to them, but management is basically forcing them to use AI. They're like, hey, did you use AI for this project? No. Will you please use AI for this project and explain to me how you used AI for this project? So it's kind of one of those things where it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point.
Yeah.
Dead Cells developer Motion Twin has released The Rogue Prince of Persia, a roguelike Prince of Persia spinoff, which has been getting a little bit of buzz.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprise dropped. So that's cool.
I still don't want to give Ubisoft any more money than anything.
Yeah. All the money that anyone should give Ubisoft is the $1 that Heroes of Might and Magic 3 costs when it goes on sale on GOG, and then that's it. They get $1. Sony has raised the price of the PS5 in North America, $500 for the Slim, $550 for the Slim with disc drive, $750 for a Pro without a disc drive.
It's gross.
Man.
That's
insane.
Disgusting prices.
I've been playing some PS5 lately, and I was like, it would be kind of nice to have a Pro, and then I could move this other PS5 in the bedroom. I'm not paying $750, and then another however much money it is for the disc drive.
I keep reading about games that perform worse on the Pro, so I can't justify it.
Yeah, that's true, too. It seems to be an Unreal Engine 5 issue of some sort.
Specifically Unreal Engine 5 games.
I don't know. Triangle Strategy got a surprise PS5 Xbox port. That one kind of came and went, and then we all forgot about it, and then here it is again. Yeah. So here it is.
I mostly heard good things about it when it did come out.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I heard that it was not outstanding, but it was pretty solid. Yeah. That's what I heard. Canceled GBA Shantae game Risky Revolution has released for modern consoles.
Yeah, it got a GBA release a few months ago. I think LRG did that, and now they're doing a proper release on everything. So if you're a Shantae fan, now's a good time for it.
There you go. I never clicked with Shantae. I never hated it. I played one and I was like, this is cool. I don't know that it's like multiple games cool, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was though.
I played one of them on Wii U.
That was probably about the era I played, so it was probably the same one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never was my bag, but I'm glad to see Shantae continuing.
Right.
And Analog has delayed its N64 again, supposedly coming in Q4. I suspect it has to do with ongoing tariff and import things that are just fucking up everything.
Yeah, despite that, I was just reading this morning, I forgot to put it in the news, but somebody else has got an FPGA-powered N64 clone coming, and it sounds like theirs is going to be coming before Analog's now, and at a lower price. So,
well, that's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a lot of outstanding pre-orders on non-American goods, and I've been getting a lot of emails and having to pay a lot of extra shipping fees lately. Like my V-Pets, my virtual pets, I order them about a year in advance on pre-order because they sell them during a limited window. Because obviously, I don't know if you know this, virtual pets aren't insanely popular. I know you thought that they were, but they're not. So they'll sell it. It's limited run style where they sell it for a limited pre-order window, and they're like, all right, this cut off, and then we're going to make them, and we'll ship them in a year. So I have multiple outstanding pre-orders from Singapore that they were suddenly like, hey, Singapore Post doesn't ship to the United States anymore as of right now.
Yeah, several international post services have canceled U.S. service this last week. So,
and it's right on the back of the Godzilla 70th anniversary Digimon coming out, and I'm in a fucking panic.
Well, that was their goal. Was they explicitly wanted to block the Godzilla anniversary? I am
Digimon in a fucking panic because it looks awesome. They added G-Cell integration. It looks so good. I can't wait. But I had to email them, and they were like, "Look, you can upgrade to FedEx. FedEx can probably navigate." Because they sent me an email, and they're like, "Yeah, so we can ship it, but you're gonna have to pay about a 50% tax. 30 to 50%. And I don't know if you know how much V-Pets cost imported from Singapore, bought off of Bandai Namco, and shipped from Japan, but they ain't cheap."
Yeah, I had a Xbox game that I had bought from the UK that. When I had originally pre-ordered it, was going to just be, regular price, but by the time it shipped, it had a import tariff of 70% of its original sticker price.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty gross.
It sucks. It's what the most frustrating part is that I ordered this shit a year ago.
Yep, exactly.
It's frustrating that you feel safe when you make the order and you're like, all right, I've got my money in. I'm going to get my thing, and it's just not. Thanks, world.
Yep.
Which brings us to our topic at hand.
Escaping from the real world.
Final Fantasy XI.
Yes.
So the synopsis is the game that made more money than the previous 10 entries combined. Is this true?
Yeah,
is this a true fact?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was within 2 years of 11's release that it made more money than the 10 games prior combined.
So
actually, sorry,
scope.
3 years. 3 years.
Let's talk scope. Because obviously we have not played all of Final Fantasy XI.
Correct.
This game is very long.
Yeah.
Potentially
hundreds
of hours long.
But at least hundreds of hours long.
I mean, some people have been playing it for 2 decades.
True.
So there's no way we could possibly do justice to this. So we're going to focus on a few things. One, this episode is mostly going to be focusing on kind of a lot of development
stuff.
Background development, stuff like that, because Saturn, I know you were very excited leading up to the game.
Yeah. Before
and so you were following it closely. I had no fucking idea what was happening at the time, because I was a young teen.
Right. Well, I was anxious before it came out because I didn't know if it was something I wanted to be excited about or angry about.
And then our second episode, and maybe a little bit of this episode, we're mostly going to be specifically talking to the Final Fantasy XI new player experience in 2025, because that's kind of what we are.
Right.
We are new Final Fantasy XI players, and we're going to explain to you kind of how we found it, the experience we had, kind of what experience you can expect going into this game as people like us who, I played it for like a month back in the day, maybe, I don't remember any of it really.
I played it for a few months back in the day, back when it first came out.
So that's the perspective we're taking. I'm not totally sure what we're going to name it. I'm going to put something in the title. It's like Final Fantasy XI new player experience part 1 and part 2 or something like that. So this is just...
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Just that.
Yeah.
And we might do more later, and we'll see how we feel by the end of it. And also, after these episodes, I want to say this, if you're listening to it, I'm still subbed and still enjoying the game. I'm not going to speak for Saturn, but because
I'm considering one more month.
So come play with us. We're still new players, and maybe this will entice you to be a new player too, and you can come check it out, and you can play with us, and we have a link shell, and it'll be a good time.
And we got a little thread going in our Discord, so if you can't find it, come ask us. We'll help you find the thread, and you can join us.
So, all this to say...
Also, we're barely going to touch the story, if at all, just because we've barely touched it in the game.
I mean, my highest level character is 48 levels, which means my story has been go here and do a thing.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about it, but only in really broad strokes. So if you're super story spoiler sensitive, I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah.
A lot of release info here.
Yeah.
So let's go through some of this. This is developed and published by Square. PS2 version was published outside of Japan by Sony Computer Entertainment. All Western releases were published after the completion of the Square Enix merger.
Yeah.
Was this their first Western release post-merger?
No, that was Final Fantasy Origins on PS1.
Oh yeah, I forget how late that was. That was late. A late game.
And then after that was Unlimited Saga, and then this.
It hit PC, compatible with 98 ME and XP. Across Japan and Europe between 2002 and 2004.
No, it's just Japan. Oh, sorry. Across all the regions between 2002 and 2004.
Yeah, 02 to 04. Upgraded editions with compatibility for future operating systems released alongside expansions over the following 2 decades, because the game is still going available today and still technically compatible with Windows 11 today. We'll talk more about that.
Officially, it only supports Windows 11 as of this fall.
Support is carrying a lot of weight in that sentence. There were previous releases that are now discontinued. It came out on PS2 in the early 2000s. The European version was canceled, never hit PS2.
And notably, the PS2 version was the first version. It released before the PC version in Japan. In the West, we got the PC version first, but the game was originally designed with the PS2 in mind.
Yeah. There was also an Xbox 360 version, which came out in 2006.
Yep.
Both PS2 and 360 were discontinued in 2016, which you'll note is about a decade ago, give or take a year.
It was after we started recording this show.
And the client, when you boot up PlayOnline, still has a blurb about how to transition from the PS2 version of the game to the Windows version. All players then were required to migrate to the Windows release at that time. There have been a bunch of expansions. Rise of Zillert came out in 2003. It was included in all Western releases when the game came out.
Right.
Chains of Promethea came out in 2004. Treasures of Ot Urgan in 2006, which included the previous expansion packs in the Xbox release.
Yeah.
We got Wings of the Goddess in 2007 and Seekers of Adolin in 2013. And we have been expansionless since then.
Yeah.
How many expansions does 14 have right now? Does it have more yet, or is it just...
do you count Realm Reborn as an expansion or a separate game?
I feel like we have to. It's not an expansion, but I think it should take up a slot.
So if you count it, then there are 6. If you don't count it, there are 5.
Okay, so either way, either equal or one more is how you would count it.
And the next expansion is due out in a little over a year, so...
Yeah, so it will then finally officially surpass Final Fantasy XI as far as expansions. Interesting. Other add-ons, there were scenario add-ons. Crystalline Prophecy, Ode to Life Bestowing in 2009. Moogle Coup d'etat, Evil in Small Doses in 2009. A Shantado Ascension. in 2009, Rhapsodies of Vana'diel in 2015, which we'll be talking more about, and The Voracious Resurgence in 2020. So they are still adding scenarios and content.
That was 5 years ago.
2020, which in the realm of a game that's been running this many years, 5 years ago is pretty recent. You know. Combat editions of Visions of Abyssia in 2010, Scars of Abyssia 2010, Heroes of Abyssia in 2010. Yeah. And so there's been a lot of Final Fantasy XI released over the years.
Yeah.
Kind of huge amounts of it.
Yeah.
It is a big game. It is an expansive game. It is a game that very much straddles the line between old school MMO and modern MMO, and will alternate back and forth between feeling like those.
I mean,
more back than forth.
Yeah, it did release prior to World of Warcraft, and that was where a lot of the modern MMO ideas were codified. So it is a pre-WoW MMO that is still running 20 plus years later.
And I'll say, I think this game, and this is kind of tipping my hand a little bit about some of my later thoughts that we're going to be talking about more next episode, but I think it really could have done with a Realm Reborn style re-release at some point.
Or at least some quality of life changes over the years.
Yeah, because there's a really interesting game here that I've had a lot of fun with. But sometimes you got to find it.
If they had even done as many adjustments to 11 as 14 has done since A Realm Reborn, it would be a much more playable game today. But as it is, it's still playable. It's just
a
little hostile at times.
Let's talk First Encounters. I did play it on PC back in the day. I think it had been out for a little while. So I think that we're talking like probably it would have been high. I would have been 15, 16, would have been high school for me. So it would have been out for 3 or 4 years. And because I would have had to had a credit card to subscribe to it because my mom would not
just want to buy Krista cards at the store.
I didn't buy Krista cards. I remember I had a credit card, and I subbed for a couple months, and I played Black Mage, and I made it to Valkyrie Dunes, which is roughly level 20-ish.
It's the roadblock.
And that's when I learned that you have to play this game with other people. Or back then you did. We'll talk more about that. At the time, you cannot progress in this game if you are not playing in a party.
Correct, yeah.
Because in my head, in my video gamer head, level 20, I should be able to kill a level 20 monster.
Right.
Which, granted, they don't really rate monsters like that. But, no, that's not how the game was built. And it was very much built in that...
you need a party.
Yeah. And this game is very, very... EverQuest, and I do feel like I have a bit of a unique experience with it because of that, because coming from Project 99 EverQuest recently and doing an episode on it like last winter, I see EverQuest in this up and down. I see the things they added to it, but it's very much that EverQuest thing of like, no. This is an MMO. Why would you be here if you don't want to
massively
put together
multiplayer
shout parties in town and play with other people,
right?
And all of that. And so I quit pretty quick because I was not good at socializing online.
Same.
And it kind of made me nervous and scared me. And I jumped back on a few weeks ago, just on a whim, honestly, and have been playing it since.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I was working at EB at the time. I was in my early 20s when this came out, and I was the assistant manager in name only, not in pay. And my manager did not care for online games. He didn't care for PC games, and he wasn't that excited about Final Fantasy. He would play them, but he wasn't that excited. And he knew that I had a PC and that I liked Final Fantasy. And so they sent beta codes to all of the managers of all the EBs and GameStops, just so that they could try it out and start selling people on it. And he wasn't going to use it, so he was like, here, you take it. And so I took it home. I installed it, struggled, made a character, got really confused and overwhelmed, and was like, I'll get around to it. But my friends were really upset because they really wanted in on the beta, and they couldn't play it anymore because I had used the code. And I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to do. I can't really, transfer this. And then, a month or so later, we were opening up a different store somewhere in Watauga. And so the DM had asked me if I wanted to go to Watauga and help him open the store, and I get over there. And it's like a month and a half before the game releases. And they had, for some reason, so they ship all the product to that store, and we were just like getting the store ready for opening, right?
Yeah.
And among the PC games they sent to that store were 30 unused beta copies of Final Fantasy 11. and I was like, we can't sell those. And he was like, why can't we sell those? And the other managers that were helping open the store were like, there's no UPC on it, for one thing. This isn't inventory. What are we supposed to do? And he was like, oh, you guys want them? So I ended up taking several of them and gave them to my friends. And my friends got super into it. They were obsessed. And then, of course, they bought the full version. And I was working pretty heavily at the time because I was covering for my store, because my manager ended up getting a promotion and working in other stores. And so I was having to be manager of my store and also help other open new stores. So I was working way too fucking much and trying to go to school still. So I couldn't play it. And all my friends got really into it. And by the time I finally could sit down and play it, they were already approaching end game. And I was...
They're level 1,000,000.
Yeah, and I was level nothing. And I was like, you guys want to help me get anywhere? And they're like, no, we really don't. We got shit we got to do in the game. And so I didn't get around to it. And then when the PS2 version came out, I was like, oh, there will be a bunch of new players. Let me get it now and try it again. And I got as far as Valcom Dunes, and I put up my little looking for party flag, and just sat there for hours waiting for somebody to let me join their party. And I was like, I can't. This is not for me. And so I stopped.
Yeah. Step me through the development for Final Fantasy 11.
So, according to what Sakaguchi has said, he says that he got the idea as early as 1997 when he transferred to Hawaii to start working at Square Pictures, which was their Hawaii branch. But he also says that all of his ideas came from his addiction to EverQuest. And EverQuest is 99.
It wears pretty plainly on its sleeve.
So any ideas or planning that he started prior to EverQuest in 99, I don't know how much effort was actually put into the game. I believe the development really started in 99 when he got hooked on EverQuest.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to cannibalize the core Final Fantasy team because they were working on Final Fantasies 9 and 10 simultaneously at the time. So instead, he just cannibalized every other Square development team and pulled people from the staff of Parasite Eve 2, Brave Fencer Musashi, Legend of Mana, and Chrono Cross. Basically, all those development staffs were grabbed and said, no, now you're working on online Final Fantasy.
And he said, make me an EverQuest.
Yeah, basically. So the initial producer of the game was Hiromichi Tanaka. And he had previously worked as the designer of Final Fantasy III, a game from which he says Final Fantasy XI took a lot of inspiration. And I can see that, at least for the job system.
Okay, for sure.
And they were targeting the then upcoming PS2 and the PC. And Tanaka and his team felt that this hardware gave them the freedom to include, quote, everything that they couldn't previously include in games because of hardware limitations. I don't know if they were able to fit exactly everything, but you can see that there was some scope creep.
Yeah.
And so the estimated development cost of the game and its Play Online network service was estimated between 2 and 3 billion yen, which was about 20 million-ish USD at the time. And the team had hoped to recoup that cost within 5 years, which they did.
Yeah.
And those numbers don't sound massive by today's development standards.
No,
but for a
especially
game,
not for an MMO.
But for a game in that era, those are some huge costs.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for Square, who was already struggling financially because of the failure of Spirits Within. So,
I was about to say, this is post Spirits Within Square,
well,
where...
this is overlapping with it.
So this is a sky-high ambition and gigantic budgets, and we are the big budget studio before that all kind of woke them up a little bit.
Because they had started development of the game around the same time the movie was being developed. And then the game publishes a year or so after the movie flops. So they start
I wasn't a Final Fantasy fan at the time. But I'm imagining young Saturn getting the 1-2 punch of Spirits Within and then Final Fantasy 11. coming out and the disillusionment. I could just feel teenage Saturn disillusionment right now. I could feel it emanating through the internet.
It was late teen, early 20s disillusionment, because this was like one of my favorite video game franchises of all time.
At what point were you like, it's fucking dead? Final Fantasy died. It died and they killed it.
This was the point. This was basically it. So it was this multi-hit punch of there's a movie and it's bad. The next mainline series game in the series is an MMO that you have to play with other people, and all of your friends have abandoned you in it. Also, we're going to start making sequels to other games in the series, and they won't even be the games that you like all that much. So it was just all of that at once. I was like, no. And then right at the same time, the series developer and creator Sakaguchi was like, I am retiring from the series. Goodbye. I was like, fuck it. Man. Fuck all this. I'm done with all this. The series is basically dead. This is some new zombie holding up its corpse. I don't need to care anymore.
I can just feel angry young Saturn.
Oh, yeah. I was unhappy. In retrospect, there was a lot of good things during this era, and 11 is a really solid game. But at the time, I was angry. I was so angry.
Oh, no, I can see it. I mean, it's solid. It's impressive. This is also coming into the GBA era of the Final Fantasy games. This is really a great time for Final Fantasy. But this 1 year span.
Oh, yeah. It was rough.
I can tell.
It was like a
There's some emotion.
2.5 year span, but it was a rough 2.5 years there. So it had a budget. They hoped to recoup it. They did. They had intended to also do an Xbox release for the original Xbox, but they're unable to get the game to fit on the Xbox's 8 gigabyte hard drive.
Not shocking.
And Microsoft wouldn't allow for any hardware expansions for Final Fantasy, so that wasn't going to happen. The game did get localized in English during its development, which for Square at the time was very different. They normally, finish the Japanese script and hand it off to the localizers, which is how a lot of games did at the time. But because they were able to do the localization during development, a lot of the game's assets, like NPC names and some enemy names and stuff, only show in English, even if you're playing the game in Japanese or whatever other language you're playing it in. And that helped them save development costs because they didn't need to have a separate server client that ran in each language. They could just have the one server client that ran in universal language, and then your game client would have the different language files.
Right.
So it did end up saving them some cost and effort during development. And upon the game's initial release, the intention was to have all players from all regions play on the same servers simultaneously. And it wasn't until after release that they realized that there are problems with that. One, latency, and also the fact that the Japanese release was 17 months ahead of the West meant that the Japanese players were all in endgame.
Yeah.
And so the advantage they thought they were going to have of the Japanese players would be able to help guide the new players backfired because the Japanese players, one, didn't speak their language, and two, were not anywhere near where the new players were.
Yeah.
So there was a couple problems. So they just made a new server for Western players. I'm like, oh, go join that server instead. And I think all my friends were still on the Japanese servers because they had joined at launch. So when I did make a new character on PS2, they were like, fuck you, man, we're on the good server.
Yeah. So your option was to go play with people that don't speak your language.
Right.
Because once there is an English language server, the English language players are going to play there, and then the only low-level players on the Japanese servers are going to be Japanese players, and you don't speak Japanese.
And there's the auto-translate thing that
there is, which
FF11,
a lot of us used.
Yeah, it's okay.
It'll get you by.
And it's the same one they use in 14 today, and it's still not good.
Yeah.
But as updates and expansion packs were released, they did port the game to new hardware. The PS2 game is playable on backwards compatible PS3 consoles until it died anyway. And they did make the 360 port. There was also apparently a Wii port in consideration in early development, but Square Enix couldn't get it to work with friend codes, and that's the dumbest reason I've ever heard.
You fucking idiots.
The fact that the game even
you just gotta exchange friend codes with everyone on this MMO, and you'll be okay.
Just shout in Juno, hey, what are your friend codes?
Yeah, everyone send me your friend code.
I want to be able to log in today.
Mail it to me and play online.
Yeah. They also had considered a port to the PS Vita, which got canceled pretty early on in development. And also there was famously going to be a mobile rebuild of the game for iOS and Android that would just be basically a new version of the game that was mobile specific, that would retell Final Fantasy XI's story on mobile, and that also got canceled.
Which I was excited about.
Yeah, that would have been a neat thing. And the producer of the game, Hiromichi Tanaka, he stepped down from his role as producer in 2012 due to health reasons, and he was replaced by Akihiko Matsui, who was in turn replaced in 2023 by Yoji Fujito, who is the current producer of the game. And of course, there's a bunch of other key members of development and also of writing and art and music team who've all been cycled through over the game's 20-year history. It's none of the same development team, I imagine, from launch. The game's been running for 20 plus years, but they have, I feel, kept the spirit of the game intact despite the constant changing of hands. So.
Oh yeah. Let's talk presentation, and I want to talk a little bit more about than what I have here in the notes. In our nice, short, succinct episode. Right. But I want to start with the art style. The 11 art style feels kind of unique in the Final Fantasy lineup.
Yeah, it kind of felt 12-y, but 12 was after this, obviously.
It felt a little 12-ish. I find it much more quaint and attractive than Final Fantasy 14 by comparison.
It's wrong, but it's okay.
I really like it. I like the characters. I like the way things look. Everything feels very I don't know, like warmer, cozier.
I disagree with all this. I hate this art style so much.
I love the art style in 11. 11 feels like a bunch of real dolls all sliding around in a fucking fake world to me. Or not 11, 14. Oh. And I don't know what it is
at all. I don't know where you get
the rigging or the animation or the way the character models look really fucking creepy and real dolly to me in 14.
I've always had a problem with this like early PS2 era art style in all games. Like the early Yakuzas also bugged me because of this. Just that like flat face, just texture on a weird polygon face model.
I like it. I like it.
And all the like backgrounds and world building is all just like really sharp, jagged edges. I've always hated early polygons. From the beginning, I was the guy who hated the move to polygons. Until polygons started looking even slightly more realistic than this, I always hated them. So it does nothing for me. I hate the art style here.
No, I don't mind the low fidelity. I like it. Just I don't know. It's always felt warmer to me, which is I know it's a weird adjective that tells you nothing. But
you also only listen to the soundtrack on LP,
right? I don't. You got to hear it on vinyl to hear the warmth.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something warmer, cozier, more inviting to me about the 11 art style than again. It's like I said at the beginning. I hate to just compare it to 14 because they're many years apart.
Yeah.
But it is the other MMO.
Yeah.
And I like it. I really, really enjoy it a lot.
I dislike the art style. I appreciate the consistency of the art style though. Whereas 14, especially when you get through the later expansions,
it's a little wacky.
Really go all over the fucking place. Because like in the most in the current expansion, I'm riding around in this neon cyberpunk looking city on a 2-wheel flying motorcycle. And then I can
point where you're like, "Where's the Final Fantasy?"
Right, and I can
this.
Well, you know, even the first Final Fantasy had robots.
Sure, right, but
then I can take that same little neon motorcycle flying contraption back to the beginning areas and fly around there, and it really just clashes. Whereas 11 feels a little more consistent.
I would say cohesiveness is top to bottom in all aspects, kind of 11's strongest suit.
I can see that.
From the UI cohesiveness, the presentationally, it's an extremely cohesive game.
Yeah.
Even the other systems it adds in, even when they don't really work,
right,
in the presentation style the game has, they still cram them in there.
Yeah.
Even when you're like, hey, you shouldn't use this type of menu because I have to scroll through 50 pages because you can only display 4 lines of text at a time. It's like, nope. It's going to fit into the UI. It's all going to be cohesive. So if cohesion's the thing you're after, it's got that in spades.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe some of the way late game areas look totally crazy. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I don't think so. The music is genuinely outstanding.
Yes.
Naoshi Mizuta was he worked with Uematsu on the original release, and I think one or two of the expansions.
Yeah, there were several main composers for the first base FF11, and then the expansions kind of narrowed it down to one lead composer.
Yeah, Mizuta is kind of the underpinning on all of it. Mizuta did 11, Tetramaster, Zillert, Promethea, Wings of the Goddess, Ottergon. Like it's the
yeah,
and it's fantastic. I absolutely love the music in this game. It is not only some of the best Final Fantasy music, in my opinion, but it is also probably the largest collection of Final Fantasy music because of all the expansions and everything.
Well, until
there's
14.
Until 14, yeah. I mean, I think I put all the 11 music I could find on my Plex, and it's like a dozen different albums.
Yeah.
It's a shitload of music.
Yeah.
And because Mizuta has been so heavily involved in all of it, there's, again, a cohesiveness to all of that.
Well, again, in the base game, you had multiple composers.
Sure.
But they did narrow it down.
And Uematsu was the name they seemed to enjoy putting on the base game. Like,
even if he didn't do that many tracks on the base game either.
Right.
But he did the best track, because he did the Ron Fowler music, which is fantastic.
Oh, man. Ron Fowler music is great. I like Sandoria a lot.
The worst song? Yeah, that's fine.
I like Sandoria. I like it.
Oh, God. If you want to be assaulted by bagpipes all the time, go hang out in Sandoria.
I like the bagpipes. I like them.
They're so gross in that game. Oh, it's so bad.
There's obviously a few classic remixes thrown in here and there. But just there's so much music here. Like, if you like Final Fantasy music, there's a gargantuan amount of it. And because of the breadth of it being an MMO, there's music of all types.
Yeah,
so I think possibly like 30, 40 years from now, the biggest legacy 11 is going to leave behind is a gargantuan body of music.
Oh, yeah. And the Theater Rhythm games have a good collection of the 11 music in them, too.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Story, again, we can't really talk to the content of the story,
right?
But we can talk a little bit about kind of how the story unfolds, and
it's weird.
I like it. I like the story in this because one, at least so far, I'm pushing level 50, which I think was max level
75
in the base game. Was this? I thought it was 50 and they raised it.
No, I'm pretty sure 75 was the original base.
I see. I don't know why I thought it was 50.
50 was 14's original base.
No, there's something at 50 where there's like... anyway, regardless, I'm a good chunk of the way level-wise.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that the story is... it is not the standard Chosen One story.
Yeah.
Which I know that it's a silly thing. It's a silly trope to get annoyed by us. Yeah, you eventually get there, but by the time you get there, it feels earned. It's not just like the beginning. You're like, oh, random kid in a village. Like for a good chunk of the early story, you're just a person walking around doing shit. And I don't know. That makes the world feel more authentic to me in a way, rather than just like, oh, you were chosen from birth to slay the great evil of blah 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 blah. Like I don't. That's always dumb to me, and I just don't care. And it makes me want the story to subvert that the whole time. And then when it doesn't, I'm like, all right, I guess everything you said was true, and what's the point in playing the story because you just told me what's going to happen. But as it progresses, it eventually turns into kind of, standard Final Fantasy stuff. There's a big evil thing, and you're not sure what it is, and you're going to figure it out, and then presumably eventually you fight the big evil thing, and then there you go, you did it. But I don't know. I liked the story. Obviously, we're playing 2 decades worth of story, kind of all layer caked on top of itself in weird orders.
That's the biggest issue that I have is because there's all the different expansions.
It feels disjointed a little bit.
And a lot of the expansions, unlike in 14 where the expansions are all linear, it's one after the next, a lot of the expansions in 11 take place on top of each other, and you can start a lot of them almost at the very beginning of the game. And then you have these different storylines like kind of meshing up, but not very well, because like the base game story still expects nothing to have happened, but then you can almost immediately start Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, and it's immediately somebody coming from another time being like, oh, you were the chosen one and the only savior of the world. And they expect you to know all this stuff because people who had played it when it came out had already played through the whole game.
Sure.
And that's a little awkward to me.
I will say one thing I really appreciated was that all the different storylines were in their own sort of discrete menus.
True.
So you can open your story menu and be like, hey, I want to keep playing the Bastok storyline. That's what I was playing. And you can just flip to the Bastok tab and be like, I'm just going to do these.
Yeah.
So it lets you kind of compartmentalize. Obviously, for reasons we'll discuss next episode, you do kind of want to do like Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, sort of. They're not, I mean, they are out of order, but you should be doing them early. So like level-wise, they're not out of order. Story-wise, they are.
This was one of my big complaints of the game when it came out was the fact that, I had some experience playing 10 prior entries in the series when the game released. And then I sit down in Final Fantasy XI and I had absolutely no idea where the story was or how to get to it. And so I had to read through the manual, and it, mentioned you go over to the missions tab or whatever, and there was nothing in it. And I was like,
you hadn't started it yet.
So how do I
get
it started? And then I finally bought the strategy guide twice. And I finally found somebody who's like, oh, you have to talk to a guard in this area to get your quest started. And
gate guard.
And I finally talked to them, and nothing happens. Like, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't tell me what to do or anything. And then I look in the missions tab, and it's there. I'm like, this is unintuitive, awkward, and just completely antithetical to how the series has run so far. And it just really turned me away.
Now, coming from an EverQuest perspective, this is exactly how I would expect it to be. In fact, it's much more forgiving than EverQuest because there is a missions tab and you can open and be like, what missions have I done and not done? And when you trade like items to NPCs to engage in missions, if it's not the right item or not the right NPC, they don't just take your fucking shit and be like, thanks for the free shit, dude.
Well, one person.
So like from the perspective of MMOs at the time, this was a leap forward, but from the perspective of single-player JRPGs...
Well, from the perspective of games with Final Fantasy in the title.
Yeah, sure. And so it's interesting there how... I get it, and I agree, but also... If I was coming from EverQuest and going to this next MMO instead of coming from Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10 and going into this, it would feel like a progression.
You have to remember at the time in 2003, 2004, people who were playing EverQuest were not looking for a new game because EverQuest was still getting expansions regularly.
Sure.
They were just going to keep playing EverQuest until World of Warcraft came out, and they certainly weren't going to go buy a sequel to a console game that is the 11th game in the series that they haven't played the previous 10 games. That wasn't what they were looking for.
I knew a few people that went into 11 and were not Final Fantasy fans.
That's pretty uncommon at the time.
Granted, my friend that was really super into it, he was a Final Fantasy fan,
right.
And had enjoyed them. But I knew people. I had a few friends that were like, "Yeah, we play 11. We didn't really like." They had played Final Fantasy 7, maybe because everyone had played that.
Well, from my experience selling them, most of the people who bought it were people who were Final Fantasy fans who were looking for playing Final Fantasy online with other people. And they didn't know anything about MMOs. And most of the people who were my regular MMO customers were like, I'm not buying that. That's a console game. That's for kids.
As far as whether it was the correct design decision for the market at hand, obviously debatable.
Yeah.
Very
I mean, it made them plenty of money.
As far as from the perspective of the designer going, hey, I want to do EverQuest, but better.
Yeah.
It is a progress. It is a step up from that ideology. Sure. Again, is that what's best for your market?
Who knows?
Probably not.
I mean, it sold plenty.
I mean, it did well. So maybe we're the fucking idiots.
Right?
You know, like I don't. Let's talk reception.
Yeah.
We're gonna do reception legacy this episode because next episode we're mostly gonna be talking about actually playing of the game, the gameplay, getting the game going, installing it, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. It was one of the earlier examples of crossplay, console PC crossplay.
It was
which is
one of the very
notable.
first console PC crossplay games, and also one of the first cross console games between PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah, and I've skipped reception. I just said we're going to do reception. This was well reviewed. Famitsu gave the PS2 version 38 out of 40. IGN gave the PC version 8.8 out of 10. GameSpot gave it 8.2 out of 10. Metacritic aggregate was 85 for PS2, 85 for PC, and 66 for 360, which that tracks. Yeah. I could see that. The post-WoW reviews are a little different. Game Rankings aggregate was 85 for PS2, 82 for PC, and 69 for 360.
Nice.
That's the sex number.
Yep.
And so that all tracks. That all makes sense to me, because after WoW came out and changed MMOs...
Well, it was a combination of WoW was available, and also the 360 came out and everybody expected better graphics than the PS2, and the game just isn't designed for that.
No.
And the game hadn't been updated at all to look or feel or play different on 360, so it was the exact same as the PS2, and a lot of people were just kind of disappointed.
Oh, yeah, especially by 360, it was lacking a lot of expected online features of just kind of any online game.
Yeah.
Like being quick and easy to jump into and play with.
But
and
you could still log in to play online on your Xbox 360.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I do see you have in here that internal reports say it became profitable by December of 2003, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast for an endeavor like this, especially an expensive ongoing endeavor like this. Back to Legacy, obviously Square Enix has two other MMOs, Dragon Quest X, Final Fantasy XIV. Yep. We've heard of these. They're both equally successful and celebrated throughout the world, right? Both of them.
Well, one of them is pretty well celebrated worldwide. The other one, for some reason, people haven't heard of it in a lot of regions.
That's weird.
That's
very
weird.
Obviously, a lot of staff from 11 went on to develop Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes.
Which makes sense internally, made sense at the time, didn't make sense when the game came out.
Yeah.
We were like, what the fuck did you fucking do?
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah, they ended up having to raze it to the ground and rebuild it from scratch with the Dragon Quest X team.
We talked about it before, but lots of ideas, themes, designs from FF11 have kind of made their way into 14. Again, despite being kind of now gameplay-wise very different games with, I think, games that you should also have different goals going into.
True.
There's a lot of the bones still there.
Yeah.
Characters from Final Fantasy XI have popped up in other games. You mentioned Theatrhythm.
Yep.
Shantado, who I didn't know, you were like, yeah, she's kind of the mascot of 11.
Yeah.
Because I have two Shantado trusts. Because the regular Shantado trust is supposed to be the best DPS trust in the game. And so I got her on the login campaign, and I was like, I don't know who this is. And you're like, yeah, she's like the mascot. And I see the Shantado quest line in my missions, and I haven't done it yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like a fake Final Fantasy XI fan. But she's appeared in other stuff.
Yeah, she's basically the series rep for 11 in the same way that Y'shtola is for 14. Anytime there's like a big crossover, like it'll be Cloud from 7 and Lightning from 13 and Shantado from 11.
Yeah. And then there was some Final Fantasy 14 crossover content, wasn't there?
Just recently. So the current, there's been a crossover event in the past where you get to fight Shantado in 14. And there's also a crossover event in 11 where you get to do some 14-y stuff in 11. But there's currently, in the current expansion, a FF11 raid series, which is permanently added to the game, where in the first part you go to Juno, in the second part you go to Sandoria. Unfortunately, it plays Ron Fowler music and not Sandoria music, because God, that would have been just
my
awful.
Bagpipes!
Ugh. But no, it is really cute to see the few remaining FF11 enemies that haven't already appeared in 14 are all in this raid series, as well as several bosses and stuff from 11. It's really cute, and also it plays the FF11 battle music during the raid when you're all fighting shit, which is neat. I like that.
And obviously we're kind of wrapping up here. I hate to cut it here because I feel like we've talked almost nothing about actually playing the game.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I do want to give some thoughts on the game and my experience with it as a whole for people who are not on the Patreon feed and they're going to get this episode a week before they get the next episode. And they're like, well, I want to know if you think I should jump into this or not. So I'm going to kind of spoil my final thoughts for next episode, just for anybody that's like, well, if it's, maybe it's something I'm interested in, so that you can jump in now and you're going to wait till next week to see if it's something you're interested in and you want to play with us. So I do want to say,
if you really like writing spreadsheets, it's the game for you.
I'll say this: if you are like me and you enjoy old MMO shit, like pre-WoW MMO shit, and you find enjoyment there, but going back to like the real hardcore old school stuff is just a little too hardcore and old school, this is a really good stopgap as far as like just kind of convenience and fun and ease of play between like real hardcore old school EverQuest and like the World of Warcraft school of MMO design.
Right.
So I do think this sort of bridges that gap. This kind of splits the difference here, where it's like, yeah, there is some old school MMO shit here, both in how you got to get the game running, how the game plays, how you interact with the game.
I feel like Play Online is worse than anything that Sony did for EverQuest back in the day.
I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound fucking insane. But let me preface it by saying that if Play Online was not part of Final Fantasy XI and I could use it without it, I would.
Yeah,
right?
It'd be a better experience.
But I like Play Online.
There's something wrong with you.
Let me try to explain it. I know it's bullshit, and it's a bullshit piece of software, and it sucks, and it's garbage.
But
one, I love the music in it.
Yeah, I like the music
chill
in it
piano
too.
music. I like that I get a little chocobo mouse.
It's super charming. I'm with you there, but it's garbage software.
And then also, it's a little bit of nostalgia. I didn't play the game for very long, but I remember I liked Play Online at the time because it was like, I felt like I had to go through these like magical steps to enter into this magical online world.
I remember
you know what I mean?
When my friends finally got their beta codes for Final Fantasy XI, and we were able to link up and become friends and everything, and they're still on my friends list and Play Online today, 20 some odd years later. I had immediately like sent them a Play Online email message or whatever to be like, all right, just making sure all this works, making sure that we're all linked and everything. And my friend responded to it with, "Why are we using this?" And that has been my thought about Play Online for the last 22 years.
It is a piece of shit software.
Yes.
And I like it.
You do like bad things, so that is something we've established over the years.
If I could run Final Fantasy XI without it, I would.
You should.
But I won't lie. I would miss it a little bit. I'd be like, oh, I kind of miss the little blue window and shit.
Yeah, I miss it like I miss the AOL welcome message.
So I just wanted to throw that out there that from my perspective, if you're looking for something that like, hey, I don't really like the modern WoW MMO thing, but I heard Justin talk about Project 99 EverQuest, and I'm just not willing to go that hardcore. This is in my mind, in my experience, a good middle ground between that.
And let me give the other side of that token. If you're somebody who's been a Final Fantasy fan forever and has put it off because you don't want to play online with other people, they have finally made Final Fantasy XI approachable for single players.
Yeah.
However,
there's some caveats.
It's still going to be a real chore to actually get to the story bits that you're wanting to get to, and don't expect what you get from a traditional Final Fantasy game that way.
Yeah. I don't think anything they've done has turned it into a regular Final Fantasy by any stretch. It's still like, this is hardcore old MMO shit, and here's some quality of life on top, and then that's kind of it.
Like if you think Final Fantasy 12 is too awkward of a Final Fantasy game for you, this is way outside of your wheelhouse. Don't do this.
It's also worth noting that this was one of my first Final Fantasies.
How do you keep doing that? How is it that your introduction to every series and thing is like the oddball? How do you do that?
Well, let's see, 2002. What was it 03 or 02 when it came out in the States?
03 in the US, but it was very late 03.
So I would have been 15. Mm-hmm. I didn't play Final Fantasy X. Mm-hmm. I had played some Final Fantasy VII because my friend owned it, and I got the PC port, and it crashed and sucked, and I played a few hours of it.
Yeah.
I didn't get into Final Fantasy games until the GBA re-releases.
Mm-hmm.
I never owned a Final Fantasy on NES or Super Nintendo. It wasn't on N64, which was my primary console at the time. And in mid-high school, I got a PS1, the little baby one, and I played Final Fantasy IX. I really liked that. So my Final Fantasy games that I started with were Dawn of Souls, Final Fantasy 11, and Final Fantasy 9. Those were kind of my trio.
Two of those were fine.
Yeah, but even then, they're all. I mean, I guess Dawn of Souls and Final Fantasy 9 are similar conceptually, but also on the screen, pretty different games.
Yeah.
And so to me, Final Fantasy was just this franchise of like, yeah, there's all sorts of weird fucking games, and they got Final Fantasy 7 over there. That's some kind of weird steampunk shit. And then I don't know. I guess this is just what Final Fantasy is. It's just all over the fucking place.
Your first Metal Gear was Acid, and your first Resident Evil was
let me tell you
Gaiden.
something, Saturn. Let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
The first Metal Gear I really played all the way through was indeed Acid.
And your first Star Wars movie was Spaceballs.
I had played MGS2 and MGS3, but didn't get into MGS until Acid. Acid was the one that I was like, this fucking Solid Snake guy is pretty cool. And then I went and played the other stuff. So
Your first,
just throwing it all out there.
First Gradius was Proteus.
You know, everyone's first Zelda 2. That's the one we all started on, right? Is it not? Or...
First Zelda game,
first Mega
Faces
Man.
of Evil.
First Mega Man was Mega Man X.
That's not too bad.
Yeah,
that's close enough. I'll take X.
Anyway, I wanted to throw out kind of preliminary final thoughts before we kind of repeat them next week, just in case you're like, hey, maybe I want to come play with y'all. Then please do, because at the time of you listening to this, we're probably still subbed, if not actively playing.
Yeah.
I
finally got a mount.
Yeah, you got your mount. You got your little crab. I need to log in and get my crab.
I wish I could get the little crab, but that's not available this month.
Oh, all right. I got to log in and get mine. I got to get my login points. I hadn't logged in for a few days. I've been taking a break. Yeah. I was going to let it stew for a couple days and then do the episodes and then give them a couple days to be out and see if anybody else wants to jump in with me.
Yeah.
Because I was hitting the kind of the grind point. But we didn't end the show, but not before we tell you about our Patreon at patreon.com/retrowarriors.
Oh.
It's the fastest I've ever said the URL. You can time me. It's great. It's so good. You get Talking Wizards.
Did you actually say the URL?
Yeah, I did. Patreon.com/retrowarriors.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah,
you can get
stuff.
What's the name? Read Along. It's called Read Along now. You can get Read Along.
It's been called Read Along for years.
You can get uncut versions of this show. Shut up. You can get all sorts of things, including our eternal gratitude that will radiate throughout space and time for all of existence.
You get access to our secret Discord channel.
You do get a secret Discord channel. It's the Talking Wizards channel. You can go in there and talk to us about cereal.
Mostly food chat.
Yeah, mostly food chat.
Yeah,
food chat. Anyway, we want to thank the following patrons for their kind donations, starting with Android 440.
Wait. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong episode. Shit. Hold on. I don't know how I did that. Craig C.
A winner is me.
Orange Joe.
Carl.
Video Rangers Podcast.
James Marks.
Shinobi.
Ray Bramble.
And Nicholas Grind.
They all gave us money, and you can too. That's the song I wrote about the money you can give us, and we will take it. It is to a song. It's a song. Shut up. It's the song that's in my heart, and I won't let you keep me down.
I'm going to do my best to keep you down. That's your song.
Anyway, we'll be back next week with more specifics about Final Fantasy XI, and no more complaints. Right? Done with complaints. Is that all of it? We got them all out this episode.
Next episode is going to be an arduous journey. Let me tell you.
I already am anticipating the next episode. I'm going to have to be like, just so you all know, I had a good time. But listen,
yeah, basically.
I got all these complaints.
That's the summary of next episode.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together.